Okie doke. I think we can go ahead and get started. Welcome to Tableau Live, your live Q&A session where you get to ask Chris all of the questions, all the Tableau related questions you can think of and get your answers. So first, we just want to welcome everybody. If this is your first time attending, please drop a hello in the chat. We love seeing new faces. If this is your second time, third time, millionth time, also please let us know how long you've been here. We've got a few different submitted questions and topics for this month. We'll be going over conditional formatting, visualization for business financial information, interactive dashboarding with Salesforce data, and some best practices for role-based dashboards. If you have another topic that you'd like us to touch on after we go through these, just send a little message in the chat, and we will make sure to get to you guys during the open QA. Oh, love that, Russ. Welcome, everybody. Okay. So Chris, I'm going to start handing over to you as we talk about conditional formatting.
All right. Do we have the person on the call who asked this question?
I don't believe we have Sarab.
All right. So typically when I think about about the whole conditional formatting, that really sounds like an Excel type of thing to me. So I would tell you, you probably, maybe or maybe not. Let me share my screen, Jordan?
Mm-hmm.
So a couple things you can do really easily. So it could be something as simple as he's asking for, like, let's just do sales by whatever, something. So if you wanted to say, okay, I have a line that I want to turn these red or green or something based on a certain number. What I would do is I'd probably create a parameter that says sales goal maybe or something like that. We'll make it an integer. We'll use minimum is 1, maximum is there's no maximum. So let's just pick a number here. We'll say somewhere around, let's say 600,000. We'll just say for now. Okay, so that's fine. So now I can use this inside like a calculation that would just say conditional. I'll make my things correct like I do it. So one conditional formatting if sum of sales is greater than sales goal, then green, else red. I do have another kind of trick here I'll show you in a second. If there could be some, actually we'll do a yeah, we'll leave like that for now. I'll show you a different trick. So let's just put that out there. So now if I just drag this to color, it's going to give me the ones that are over and actually above the thing. So then I would want to just set these colors, to red and green or whatever I had, just make them be. And then I've got my sales goal here that if I wanted to change this to 900,000, then that automatically works. The other tip I'd probably add here is to add like a reference line in here, and I should be able to put my sales goal. And oops, that's value. What do here? That's not what I want. Oh, there it is. So the sales goal would go in there. That way you can see what that line is. I'll put it as a thing. So if I change it back to 600, it's going to move. So that's kind of a nice little feature to show you kind of where you're at and where you're trying to get to. So like this one is barely over the line. You see that. So if that's what he meant by by conditional formatting. That's like pretty simple. But I pulled up this old workbook. This is what you can do in Tableau. I wouldn't actually like I recommend doing it. So this has got a couple of tricks in it. One, if you're wanting to do like a crosstab and have sales formatted on some number and then profit on something else, you can't use one color field for that because it will only be one answer. So the trick is to do multiple marks. So now I've got multiple marks cards. I've got, and what this was used to move the words to the top. So we have a little trick here. So this will move things around for me. So now that one's moved down to the bottom. You just can't see it because it's in actually white. But this is I don't know if you guys know this, but you can do many dual axis. So the dual axis lets us move the headers to the top and also gives us the multiple marks cards. So same way here, the sales is greater than 300 or 3,000. So it's the same thing I did. I just did that as a parameter, and this gives you a true false. Versus I labeled mine red and green, but true false works as well. They did the same thing for profit, and then just pulled these in. But the great thing about it, if you have multiple marks cards, there's other things you can do as well. So here I'm doing the same thing, except I'm coloring the background of the cell. So doing it that way. Or even here, I'm saying, okay, I'm going to color profit ratio on different fields, but then I'm going to use this one as like a shape file. So in this marks card, I'm choosing shape versus this one, I'm choosing text, right? So there's tons of different ways you can do it. I think starting with the question of, is this helpful or not? And typically the reason why we use like visualizations versus actually crosstabs is, like right now, if I was to ask you which is your highest region, you couldn't tell me. If I was, you'd have to filter and memorize and all kind of stuff. And then this is just broken up really crazily. So I know people get tired of bar charts because we tend to use a lot of them, but that they are the best way to see your data quickly. So I'll just pause there, and anybody have any questions? If not, we'll move on to the next topic. Perfect.
Awesome. Well, next, and I'll share my screen again, Chris. Oh, I can do it by myself.
Look at you.
Here we go. So next, oh, Tableau Ninja shirt. I love that. I know, a lucky attendee could take home their own. So next question, actually, and I believe we have Lauren here. Two-part question. First up, visualization for business and financial data. The best ways of looking through that, and then interactive dashboarding with Salesforce data. Lauren, is there anything that you wanted to add on to these before we start talking?
Not really. I kept them kind of vague. I'm pretty new to Tableau, and I'm a financial analyst and a Salesforce administrator. So I was just looking for ways to kind of incorporate all of that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So the one thing I would say is I actually tend to not think about dashboards in actually verticals like finance or business because well, I'll tell you, I'll give you a story. When I first started out, I thought, okay, I'm going to go and build a dashboard that is for like Google Analytics, and I'll be able to build it once and sell like 1,000 times. Because if I have it built for Google Analytics or built for finance, then all people are going to use it the same way. Well, the short part about it is that even if it's the same data, company to company, they're gonna have like different questions. So I would not think of it as a financial data dashboard. I would actually like talk to your end users, and the number one way I phrase questions is don't ask them well what they want. I ask them well what would make them make a change. So typically, if you can get them thinking of, well, you know, like, hey, I have to know how many sales we have every quarter. Well, if you know how many sales you have, are you can make like a change for that? No, you probably need to know other things to be able to know, do I move marketing up? Do I hire more people? Right? So you try to get dashboards that will solve problems. That would be the main thing. Tableau does have a bunch of things out here. And we're in the middle of, I'll show you a couple examples. I can share my screen here. And again, so a good place to start looking, but I'll give you if you type in Tableau accelerators, there's like a bunch of accelerators out here. I hate to say this, but I would almost not go with any of the ones that are built like Tableau, and I can actually show you why. The way that they build them is really kind of intensive on the calculations, and I don't think you need that many calculations. I'm going through right now and rebuilding a few of the ones that they have done and making them way more simple. But you can always start here by looking for something that you need. So like, for example, if you're looking at like Salesforce data, you can just search on that and you'll get a bunch of different things. Like, you know, start with one of these here. Let's like look at this one. So here's like a very simple dashboard just to give you some basics. So I think using things like this to kind of help you figure out what you want to do, you can download these. So your close one, you know, negotiation review, this is what's in your pipeline. This is probably not exactly what you're looking for, but you can definitely find examples out here. So I think keeping them very simple. The other thing I like to do is Tableau does have this, which I do like, which I'm actually adding into all of mine. Actually, I can show you what I'm working on now. Let's see. This is not it. I do want to show you that one at some point, if I can today. Where's I got too many things open. You know, that's one we were doing, but dang it. No, I got it. Okay, here. So this is actually one that Tableau did for like a sales and marketing. And so what I really like is like the first thing I said about talking to your audience and getting the questions they have. So like, what are the total sales per revenue per month? How do they compare to the previous month? Okay, if your audience wants to know that, make that easy for them to find. So when you get this list of questions, building your dashboard from these things is kind of really how I would do it. Now, this is where Tableau started, which is great, but then they kind of jump into, you know, this is their back end dashboard. Oh, it'll look good. I think it's just not running yet. It'll queue in a second. But man. Gathering field values, apparently. Well, still, this will kind of come up at some point. But I guess the short of it is just go out there and look. There's plenty of examples online. Tableau Accelerator is a good spot. Also, Tableau Public. You can find a good examples there too. Does that help, or did that not really help you at all?
No, that was really helpful. Thank you.
Okay, good. All right. Next up, Jordan.
Awesome. Yeah, and then if there was any other questions you had around, you know, getting the data from Salesforce into Tableau, feel free to ask that as well, or we could always
there's a connector already in there. So I'm assuming if you're doing that, then that's kind of where you're starting, right? You're starting with the Salesforce like connector.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So and then how it works is there's a bunch of kind of pre-aggregated things when you look in there, like the top of your tables. So I would say definitely don't start out trying to do your own joins. Just go with the pre ones that they have. That'll probably be the actually best. The one negative that I'll tell you about Salesforce data is pretty much every single instance of Salesforce is actually customized. So there's not two of them that are actually alike. So depending on how far along your company is in their Salesforce process, they likely have hired a Salesforce consultant to build custom reports inside of Salesforce. And how they do that is they change the backend data model. So sometimes, depending on how long they've used it and how many of those hires they've done, it's going to make it really, really hard for you to get your to be able to get it in Tableau doing the same thing it does in Salesforce, because there's hidden tables all over the place. So that's like a big negative for me, but so sorry about that.
And then the next question we had was kind of around role-based dashboards and the best practices for implementing role-based dashboards.
Yeah, so, and is the person here that asked that? 'Cause I don't
believe
fully
so.
know what a role-based, I mean, when I think role-based, I think about viewers or viewers or creators or explorers. Maybe that's not what she means. I know we talked about, these are really just about these things I think you did these, or this was done by Heather, pulled these up?
Heather did.
Okay, yeah, so like in the top right, she talks about like the user site roles. That is that's a viewer or explorer or a creator. And so those just have different levels of things that they can do. So a viewer can just pretty much interact with the dashboard. An explorer gets a little bit more functionality. They can likely edit and do some things like that. They can publish, but they can only do it for data sources that are stored on the server, versus a creator is the one that'll have Tableau desktop and Tableau prep and can pull data in on their local machine and then publish to the server. So those are really the basic three roles. There's a lot of nuances to them, but definitely the kind of best like practices is build your dashboard for the lowest common role. So build it for this viewer, right? So if you make it so you have to go in and edit the dashboard, but half your users are viewers, well, that they really can't use that. So so then again, it's a lot of talking to your audience. I often see people try to build a one size fits all dashboard. Just today earlier, I had a client saying, well, we're gonna have to talk to the sales team and also the clients to see what they want to see. And I'm like, well, those are two different audiences. They're going to use the same data, but they're going to use it actually differently. So don't think you've got to do it all in one. Sometimes it's way easier, and it's also easier on the eye. If you know how somebody's thinking, you can give them in the right order that makes sense for their actual role. So that's kind of that first bullet of the user's needs. And then user filters here is, if when somebody logs in, you can say, hey, I want to limit the data based on who's logging in. So if Jordan can only access East Coast data, then maybe the user filter says Jordan is part of the East Coast group, so I filter out all of the other regions on the fly. That's a very simple thing to put in, and then that's kind of the same thing as the row level security. So basically, what I'm saying is, when Jordan logs in, she can only see the rows that have her region in it. That's like really it. Was there another part 2 to this one, Jordan?
Yes.
Oh, there we go. User groups and you have about permissions. I often coach people when they're setting up their site or their projects to never use a individual user permission, but everybody in groups. So it makes sense to start with the roles, viewers, explorers, and the creators. And then you might have subgroups to say, oh, well, these are viewers for finance. They are viewers for sales. Just think about the different audiences and kind of what they will have access to. And then often I would just create project folders that map into those groups. So I know if I'm publishing something to to the sales project folder, then I know anybody that has sales in their group title will have access to that. Okay. And then obviously testing across roles and training and support obviously has to be done. But I don't know how that ties into this question, but these kind of are all really good best practices for sure. Anything else here?
Awesome. Yeah, that's it for role-based dashboards. Did anybody have any follow-up questions on that? Okey doke. Well, now we can move into opening the floor for some open Q&A. Joshua, I know last Tableau Live, we covered Sankey charts, but then you had also had some questions about overlays and data types. Was there still anything that you had questions about relating to that?
I always have questions. I don't have any specific examples right now. I'm just always ready to learn.
Awesome, awesome.
Well, I can I think I could show the credit core thing, Jordan.
Yeah,
Okay.
that would be really cool.
I don't think it's like private data.
It's just, I think, inventory.
Yeah, inventory. Well, you just want to share that. I'm gonna show all Q3. I thought it was kind of cool. So we just finished this project for a client, and I think this is like my favorite dashboard that we've actually ever built. Super cool. So first off, we started off with, am I sharing the wrong screen? I am. I'm sharing my Slack for some reason. So there we go. So yeah, so we started off with just looking at their open orders. That they didn't even realize they had some orders that were past due their dates. So I pulled in this like functionality and say, hey, you've got 611 shipments that are past actually due. I clicked it twice, right? So that was a quick way to be able to get down to that data, find that these two are between 90 and 100, 110 or 98 and 120 days out. So they can go and actually fix those. And then, leaving room for actually good news. Here's everything that's shipped. If you want to find your packing slip or an order or whatever, say, hey, when was the last time I ordered some of these Velox buckles? I've only ordered them once. It was on this order date. It just actually shipped, or it's going to be shipping. Interesting. Yeah, that has passed. So we just actually got that, and we got 40,000 of them. It's a lot. And then the next thing they asked us, they said, "Hey, we have all this inventory out here, and we want to let our clients be able to go see what we have in stock and what can they buy." So I thought this was a super cool dashboard. Whereas I can say, "Hey, I want to look at all the things I have in Navy." So if I click on Navy, it's going to filter down and show me all the stuff I have. So I don't have any accessories in Navy at all. But if I go to white, I actually do. I have accessories in white. I have things in all different colors. But it kind of works both ways. I can pick a size. I say, hey, you know what? I have like extra small legs, so I need to see what bottoms I can get. So I click on a size and I say, okay, I've only got 4 options. I got white, blue, green, and burgundy here. So just kind of a cool, fun way to show your show what you have in stock. Just make it a little bit more visual. I did actually make these actionable too. So if you wanted to say, hey, give me the green bottoms, and I can tell you exactly where those are. Boom. So kind of cool.
I love it.
Yeah, this was a fun one to build out. But let's see what else we got. Is there any questions or anything you guys want to know, or something you're struggling with?
Josh did give an example for overlaying congressional districts over a map and then filtering based on those districts.
Congressional
You know how you feel about maps.
Well, so we actually do this dashboard, and this is public too. It is, let me forget here, I think it's Tableau. There it is. So this is doing exactly what you're asking. We've done a couple of these. What was the other guy that did that? We helped him on
Pete from
yeah. I'll have to look and see if I can find that. So these are this was like 2022. So this is a dashboard that does kind of a lot of that. Looking at your different maps, your different like districts. This is for like voting and stuff. So this is like company plots out all the actual districts and, you know, lays in, you know, if it was like Democrat or like Republican. So something like that, but then also building these out so you can kind of see the data. So the only thing I don't like about a map is that like, you know, especially with this. So even like this actually district is small in size, but it has a bright color. So the problem with the map for me is if there were a lot of voters in that area, I can't see how many voters there are because it's limited on the size of that area. So I'd much rather pair that with some bar chart. Now, this client didn't want to do that, but I think it's much more handy to have a map is beautiful and people love them for that reason. But it's really hard to do the actual analysis on it because you can't, like if I told you to tell me like the top 5 districts, you can't really do it, you know. So you have to dig a lot in, but you know that they are actually pretty. But I would just say that you always want to pair them with something that you can actually understand the data with. Is that helpful, Joshua? Or was that too simple?
I understand what you're saying. For us, it helps us visualize where some of our devices are. So we leverage this against congressional districts. So I definitely agree. You got to have the data with it as well, so you can then parse it out. But for us, we utilize that. So that's why I wanted the congressional districts to overlay, which I have to get a new shapefile and drop it in every single time.
Yeah.
And then the matching it up or the overlay to like a zip code or something. That's the fun, the crazy, the insanity of my challenge.
Yeah, no, that's just because those things change all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's horrible. So yeah. So I guess and you've got to talk to the guys here at PDI. They do a great job with it. We kind of run a campaign for them every year where you can't fucking see here. So there's a combination of a bunch of filters in the background of this guy. And so what we do is we have a product called a VisBot. And so people can sign up for, hey, I want this district, or I want this combination of districts, and I want to filter on a certain thing and all the stuff. So they sign up for it, and then we loop through a list with VisBot, apply all those filters, and then download a PDF, and I email it out to them like each day. Which is kind of a cool thing. This is the one we just, let's see if I can get to it. Explore. I think it is in online campaigns too. This was the last one. But yeah, this is like the summary that we do. So this is, you know, we sent out, you know, 629 different URLs. So these are a combination of things that people ask for. And this was all the people that we sent out, like each day, but kind of a fun little project for sure. But yeah, you're right. You know, mapping those zip codes and those districts is rough. And I'm sorry, it's not. I mean, there's no way to kind of do it in some automated way either. I think it's kind of a manual process every year. So I feel for you. Anything else you want to know, or trying to think of other cool things I can tell you? We don't have a lot of questions.
No.
But
one thing, and I know that we've got Josh and Russ both also joining us at TC. Anybody else going to be attending Tableau conference at the end of this month? Wow, it's 2 weeks away almost.
I don't know. It's flying by. I could just, I could do some work and you guys could watch me work. You wanna do that? I don't know if that'd be fun for anybody, but I can.
Truly Tableau Live.
Yeah, well, I could actually show you that, have some sort of a. Okay, hang on a second, sort of a check prompt to display a field in the rows and pretty new to Tableau, trying to recreate a few tables and graphs. All right, is it possible to have some sort of a check mark prompt to display a field in the rows? Tell me, can you come off mute and tell me what you mean by that?
Yeah, sorry. There's just it's my first time trying to make a Tableau dashboard, and um, there's just another field that we add in the rows to this table, and I don't want to create two tables because it's basically doing the same thing. It's just adding a row. So I'm just wondering if it's possible to have some sort of check mark to, oh, sorry, chat's coming in. Just wondering if it's possible to have like some sort of prompt that says like, yes, I want to display this row, or no, that the user can toggle.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, so I mean that's just kind of a filter, right?
Yeah.
That's all you need. So yeah, I'll just do it for you really fast. Let me just grab a. So that's all you would do is let's say here, let's say that I didn't want to show paper, right? I mean, you could just do this. You can just literally just turn on filters and say, hey, I don't want your paper to show up.
So if you had, so let's say you had the, like, do you just have a product category? If you
Mhm.
had product category in the rows and also product subcategory, is there a way to say, I only want product subcategory to display if the user says they want it to display, like a yes,
Okay.
display this?
Yeah. Okay. So let's do this then. So you say product subcategory and product category, right? So
Yes.
you want to say,
Yes.
hey, I want to see either or, right?
Or both, like
Yeah.
theoretically.
So there's two options. One I don't like, and I'm gonna get on a little further. I'm gonna show you. I should show you why. Well, I should show you how you can do it, and then next I'll tell you why you shouldn't do it this way.
Okay.
So I always take subcategory and drag it on top of my category. So that's going to create this hierarchy. Okay. So that's going to put these in a little plus minus thing, right? So now when I go up here, I can hit this minus, and that's going to roll it up to that. Come back up here, hit the plus, and that's going to actually roll it.
Nice. That,
That's
yeah,
what's going
that's
on.
pretty cool.
So, but here's other problem. The
Mhm.
problem is, let's go to, let's see here, product name. So if I drag product name in here, okay, so now I have three like things. I've got boom, and then I go here. Okay, now this is now too long.
Mhm.
So if I so now if I say, hey, what's my biggest selling product? Well, you can't get there because you're now sorting on these other things because it's going to go in order, right? So people end up doing this, but I think it's always better to do this, to not do them as these. I'll just show you. So I would do this one as category, and I'm actually gonna color on this actually. I'm gonna color on my product category instead of doing that. So that gives me those. And then I want to duplicate, and I want to call this sub category. Okay. And I want to duplicate it again. And I want to call it product. Okay. And I'm just going to cheat. So this gives me, oops. There we go. Okay. So now I have my products in order. I have my sub products in order. And I have my category in order. So now I put these three on this whole dashboard. Okay, so now I say, I'll just throw it in, I'll just throw it like this. Let's do a vertical container. And I'll do category. Come on, get in there. Category, subcategory, and then I'll do product over here. Okay. So the great thing about this is, boom, get rid of all this stuff. We don't need it. So we don't even need, I probably should kept that one. So the great thing about doing this is now we don't even need this actually legend, because this tells us the same thing. We only have those three colors, and now I have more actually data. So don't even need this part. And then, oops, cancel. So now what we do is, oops, dang it, moving too fast, or maybe not fast, actually enough, maybe one or the other. Okay, so now I can answer so many more questions with this. So the first thing I can tell you is, just by glancing at this, is that our top like 12 products, the actually bulk of them are in like a technology, because they're all actually green, right? So not only can I tell you what is our best product, I can tell you the actually category, and I can tell you the overall grouping is actually office machines is their number one sub actually category. So what I would end up doing is I would create an action, and I would say, I want to create a filter action that is, always start out with an all to all, just name it that. I want to do it on select. I want to show all values whenever I clear it off. So now if I wanted to know, hey, just show me office supplies. So here is office supplies. Here's what is number one as far as a subcategory. Here's all of the products, right? If I wanted to say, hey, just show me these like three. Well, there you go. So now I can tell you these three are in those areas. Now, maybe to give me more information, I might put in my sub actually category, just so I have it, so I can know where it is. The other thing you can do, if you wanted to, is I can say, I'll take this and I'll hold down shift on color will now give me sub colors. Okay, so I have office supplies are all blue, and then the ones in there in the middle are the different areas. So that's a good way to do it as well. I'll do the same thing to this one. Let me clear these out. So now these are all going to be shades of your let's see. Oops, shift. There we go. So now I have, so for furniture is all orange. I'll drag it off. Put it back. Oops. Subcategory, wrong one. There we go. So so I see that. So for furniture is all shades of orange. Office furniture is all shades of blue, and technology is all shades of green. But they all have separate colors, right? So I can quickly get you those answers. If I click office supplies, I don't know why these aren't the same color. I think I probably hose myself. I got to make them. Gotta make them match, I guess. That'd be a key thing to do. But I don't know why they didn't match automatically, but still. If I'd have started from the part. But anyway, that's like kind of the key. So instead of like trying to build everything into one and getting that real long tail that you're not going to be able to answer any questions on, then this is actually better. And if you look back at that dashboard I just showed you that I just built, I did the exact same thing. So wherever it is, I think maybe it's here. No, that's what I was going to show you earlier. This one here. So same thing. So for the item group and for the color. So this actually combines the two together, pants that are actually green. Well, I don't necessarily want that. I want to be able to look at all actually things that are actually green, not just pants. But maybe that's all we have. So we also have shirts too, right? But I kind of break those two actually apart so I can see differently. And I can tell you that I have more tops than I do bottoms. Right? Does that make sense?
Nice. Yeah, no, this was very helpful. Thank you.
Sure thing. All right.
Awesome.
I'm gonna text my daughter. I'm late getting her up. Perfect. Okay. What else do we want to see?
Lots of great questions today.
Do we have more in there? Is there another one?
Anybody?
What was that? Somebody start to say something?
I think that was me.
Oh. All right. The other thing, and I'll show you this other thing I'm working on. So this was kind of a good kind of example on those so this is one from Salesforce or from Tableau that you can download, and these are all of they're actually dashboards to what they say is a typical sales and marketing dashboard, and they did a good job of of kind of giving you the questions or answering, but for me it's just too much. And so when I go in and look at how these are built in the back end, like I'm looking at all these fields here. Man, here we go. So look, so just take a glance at the number like a calcs that they made. So each like one that has a little equals next to it is like a calculation. There's business lines in actual field, clients in actual field, registration date is, but the rest of these are for the most part, they're all calcs. And this must have taken somebody a ton of time. And I just think that there's better ways to do it. This is a lot more detail than I would ever build in any of my dashboards, because you're building so much stuff that you don't need to build. So I'm doing a kind of a call it like revisit. So I'm going to revisit. But if you look at my like a data source that I have, like I just started writing calcs. So I have like 4. So these are the only calc, or I got 5, but that one doesn't count. I'll show this is my little fun Easter egg that I put in my dashboards that I'd like to throw in there just for fun for somebody to find. But anyway, but yeah, so I only have 4 key calculations, and just from these 4, I mean, I've already answered the first like 3 like questions, what are the total sales revenue for the current month, and how does it compare to the previous month? I actually can't even find that on here. Like it's really difficult for me to figure it out. There's just so much going on, versus I haven't put in some background yet. I've got it ready, but I just basically start by building out. Let me just format this as dark for now. Format dashboard. I'll just throw a gray on it or something. But basically, the short of your answer is that's your current month, and you're down from the last month. You're down a lot. So, do I need to have a calculation to do that, or I just need to show it on a graph? I don't know that you need to make it more complicated than that, and then these are all the different ways you break it down. And like I just showed you, I'm just building on separate bar graphs to start with. And then once I start answering the questions, then I'll change my layout. I'll make it make sense. I might add some other features to it. But for the most part, I am really going back to this list, because this is actually what my client needs to know. And so that goes back to the very first thing I said at this call is, don't start with the data, start with the actual questions you're answering, and just and answer those in the most simple way you can. I know I've touched on this before. I'll just give you one more kind of reminder. I really love how we name our fields. So just having all of our calculations start with a certain thing makes it super great. So now I can filter on just my calculations quickly and see everything that I've written. And like kind of like in this example here, like, so so how we do it is every calculation gets a new number, and then the number on the end means I actually used 002 inside this calculation. In this one, I use 003, right? So if I was to go and edit this and see, I got it used here, right there. So that's being used. And also what that does for us, if I knew I need to make a change to 002, then I would come in here and search, and no matter if I had 1,000 fields, then I can tell you where that's being used. So I need to go and check to make sure whatever change I make here doesn't actually affect this one as well, right? Versus if you look at like these like calculations in this data source, I really have to study these names to know what it is. I mean, if I had 4 of these being used, they're all very similar, and it takes me so much time to figure out, okay, is this the customer profile of profitability, or is it profitability ability of description that I'm using? Like, it's just too much. And so the reason why they do it this way is that they like to use those for the name fields. I would much rather have aliases or put in text boxes for the names than I would try to spend the time to figure out what I'm actually using. So just my little soapbox on writing calculations that really has saved us a ton of time. And the other thing too is that if you've ever gotten hold of a workbook of somebody who you have to now move forward, if they've done it like this and they've got nested calculations everywhere, it's just going to take you forever to figure out how everything is. Versus in my system, you just know it by default. So use that system. Let's see what else.
Very helpful.
Let's see here. What have we done cool lately? We are actually working on this. Somebody have a question? I was all excited. Thought I had a question. We are working on this. So one of the things, this goes back to talking earlier about the whole permissions. So one of the holes. So let me ask this question: Who on this call do we have any server admins? If you're a server admin, please speak up. I'd love to hear that. Or is this all like a desktop users? Probably all actually desktop, probably. Anyway, I'll show you this. So one of the holes I feel like that like Tableau has really from the server side is really the whole of permissions. So getting them set up is easy, but they're also easy to change. And let's see, let's go to TS admin. So we have had this product that we're getting ready to launch that's actually pretty cheap. And it basically pulls in your risk policies. So the 4 policies that I think are important are: 1, you should never use the all users access. That should never be the case. So you don't want to have all users always getting to something, or it's very rare that you would. And then and this I talked about this earlier, I would never want to have a direct user. So I don't want to have some user that has like CCOX should never have that on there, right? And this one is my other kind of pet peeve is your project folders have to be locked. The reason why is because if you have a creator publishing and your content permissions are not locked, then that creator can give access to anybody that they want. So what this product does is it goes through, it loops through your server. And I'll just show you that it loops through and it creates this data source. So it goes and look, what the heck? Where's my this one here? Here we go. So it creates this whole data source. I can't, bud. So it creates this data source for you, and then we also get a history as well. So and then we actually publish the workbook for you, and this just runs every single day. So as far as governing your Tableau server and the permissions have not changed, or if they do change, then we find it and we actually alert on it for you. So kind of a neat little way to go about it, because if I was to go and figure out if this folder, these are the ones we're kind of testing on, right? So here's the Zebra project, and I saw had some problems in it. So like the first thing here is that this is not locked, right? So that should be locked, and it should be nested. That should be the case. The all user shouldn't even be here. I should be able to actually delete that rule, should be gone. So those are things that that I would have found inside of my workbook would have told me that. Now, if I go and rerun it, then those will be fixed, right? So I would love to kind of hear her feedback on that. If you guys think that's helpful, if that's a smart thing to do or not. So don't actually talk as you once. All right, we have a non-talkative crowd. Can you give me a thumbs up or something in the chat if you think it's cool? How about that?
I think it's very cool.
Okay, well, cloud, so Russ, you're actually cloud. I think that like to me is the actually biggest risk, because what I see happening is when people move from an on-prem server to cloud, then typically the server admin or site admin, the person who knows the most about governance, is actually not even needed anymore, because most of their role was doing upgrades and maintenance, but now that's used by Tableau. So I often see your server admin going away, and that's what so we actually built this for the cloud. That was kind of the reason. Yeah, so very cool little product that we're working on. So, all right, anything else? What else we got?
I was gonna quickly show where you guys can find our session and drop that link in the chat. I thought I had it pulled up. So Chris and Heather will be going to San Diego to speak about mastering Tableau with templates and design. If you have been around, you've heard us talk about this before. And let me pull, I have the, if you go to this link that I'm dropping in the chat, you can go here and add where they'll be speaking twice, once on Tuesday, once on Wednesday, and whichever one of these works for your schedule. We'd love to see you there. It's going to be a grand old time. And we also have a discount code if you have not registered yet for 35% off. And that code, I've literally memorized it from having written it out so many times. And we'll have that for you guys in the chat as well. Let's go. Here you'll see Tuesday, April 30th at 8 a.m. Pacific time, and on Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. Pacific. Thank you all so much for being